Hi, we are Mike and Brenda Baker, and today's episode is Why Don't My Friends Understand My Empty Nesting?
So, our first point in this is your friends are probably not in the same boat as you. We have a lot of friends who have children that are all mostly younger than ours. And so we were one of our friend group, we were one of the first to have no kids at home anymore. And so it's been sort of challenging in some ways because people don't really understand what emotions and things come with that, right?
I will say that it is, in some ways, payback for all those years when we were younger and we were the only ones with kids and we got invited nowhere. Okay? Well, you have kids, so we didn't figure you'd want to go. All of our married and unmarried friends who had no children. Well, we just figured it was a hassle for you. Thanks for not letting me decide that on my own. So here we are, kids are gone, and they're all fighting with their 12-year-olds, or their 16-year-olds or whoever. So I just want to throw that in there. But that has to do with the same boat. We weren't in the same boat then, not in the same boat now.
Right. And so it's really important to understand and look at where your friends are at. Because it's really easy to go, man, why doesn't anyone care?
Yeah. Now they're not calling because we don't have any kids, So, well, I have kids, it's hard for me to, okay, whatever. We've had this conversation just a lot longer ago. So look, it brings us in, number one and number two really kind of tie together. For one, they're not in your boat. They don't understand. They look at what you're doing. When you empty nest, parents are like, wow.
That looks so cool.
That must be nice. Okay. But at the same time, everybody deals differently. Okay. We've seen empty nesting that's been a catastrophic failure.
Yeah.
Okay. We've seen empty nesting that was tremendous success.
Yeah.
And we've seen, but most of it kind of goes in the middle where people aren't sure what, really the biggest thing, people don't know what to do with themselves. Well, what do? Do I start a new career? Do I, why not? Why can't you start a new career? That's dealing differently. Why can't you start a career if you didn't have one already? Why can't you go to school if you just want to go to school? Why can't you start a program for other kids?
Yeah.
Why not help your friends with their kids? Why not go to them? Now remember, you've got less to hassle. You just got to haul your own self out of the house. Why not go hang with your friends that have kids? It's not a big deal. They don't have to come to your house every time anymore. Be considerate and understand everybody's going to deal differently. You're going to look at you're going to look at us and think, man, it seems like they got all this figured out.
No.
No. You need to go back a few videos because that will clearly explain that we do not have or did not have everything figured out.
No.
All right. We're just trying to share with you so that you have some info because we didn't really have any.
No.
So just remember, your dealing is not wrong. It's just the dealing for your boat. It's the way that you and your husband, you and your wife are rowing your boat.
Exactly. So I guess that really leads into the next point that we have to make.
And this is a big one.
It's huge because today's culture really interferes with relationships. We're the most connected that we've ever been, and yet the suicide rate and the depression and anxiety rate, percentages are so high through the roof. And yes, it has somewhat to do with quarantine, but it also has to do with the fact that people need other people in person, not just online, okay? And so that's a huge issue. So your friends don't typically understand what you're going through with your empty nesting because, well, they see what they see on Facebook. They see you're happy on Facebook, so you must be happy, right?
So let me touch on that because this topic doesn't just affect empty nesters. It affects everybody right now.
Yes.
All right. And I'm going to be pretty direct. So this is 2020. All right. Now it's September at this point. 2020 hasn't been a great year.
No.
It hasn't been a horrible year for a lot of people either. Maybe you're one of those who were able to continue working. Maybe you're one of those who was able to get out of the house. I'll tell you right now, that 2020 was probably one of the best years to road trip ever. And that might freak some of you out, but that's okay. All right.
And we know that.
It's not like you have personal interaction with me, so you don't have to worry about that, okay?
We're not going to give you COVID.
Right. So culture has torn apart at the seams right now. We know couples and I'm not going to get political here, but I am going to say we know couples with completely opposite political leanings, which is always interesting to me how couples like that even got married.
Yeah.
Okay. But it is tearing the very fabric of their relationship to pieces. All right. Now, one thing that I would encourage you to do is you can take the climate of culture right now and you can use it to gain more traction in your relationship at home. My wife and I have talked about things we have never talked about before. Not because they were taboo subjects, they just weren't subjects that came up. But now that the kids are gone and all of these things in the world are happening, now these subjects have come up. Why? Because they're pertinent to our future and things that we're doing. We've never been more on the same page. All right, we've had some very tough discussions. We've had some very frank discussions. We've argued a bit, but it was all because we wanted. It was all because we were concerned for the future of our sons, and it was all because we were concerned for our own future. What does this look like? For me, as a man, as a male, it's absolutely essential that I set an example for my sons that they can follow. Just because they're out of the house, I'm telling you dads right now that your boys, your daughters are watching you more now that they're out of the house than they were before. They want to see if dad got soft. That's exactly what they're looking for. All right, and now is your opportunity to show them that not only are you not soft, but you're more committed than ever, especially to mom. And so I would say on many levels, we're tighter. We've always been tight, but we're tighter now than we have ever been before. And it's as a result of 2020, in spite of it, in spite of 2020.
Yeah.
All right. So really, we would encourage you, get the culture, the parts of the culture out and have the hard discussions. You're empty nested. Your kids are gone. Now is a great time for you guys to sit down, battle it out if you have to, but set rules for it. Talk it out if that works best for you. Write it out if you have to, but talk about it. Don't ignore it anymore. Because really that's what's going to put you on the same page.
Right, and that's really where the culture has really come into the marriage. Now, those of you that are watching this right now that are blended couples, you got a lot on your plate, and we feel for you and understand exactly what you're going through. Our details are absolutely different, okay? But we have had a whole pile of crap handed to us on many occasions. And the last 3 years have not been any exception to that.
No.
We've had a lot, okay? And so we get it. But you have to learn how to make that drama and that baggage be what brings you together. And that's really what Mike and I did. You know, earlier this summer, we went on a 6,800 mile road trip. And you've probably seen some of our videos, but it was an excellent trip, and we learned a lot about each other.
when you're stuck in the same 3 feet of air for that long, you figure things out pretty quick. Things that you didn't know before.
Yeah, exactly. And some of it was a little bit negative, and it all turned out to be wonderful because we have a better understanding of each other. So I guess I would really say, if you and your wife or husband or whatever are now empty nesters, go on a road trip together. Take 2 weeks and go. And no, you're not going to get COVID. I promise. We were in 16 different states, and neither one of us got COVID. Okay, so it's time to drop the fear and start living, because COVID doesn't change anything.
Yeah, one thing I will say on that, obviously we can't guarantee that you're not going to get COVID, all right? And we're not pushing our own personal preference on the whole COVID thing here. We have our own personal convictions about it. We felt that what we were doing was more important.
Yeah.
And so we exercised protocols that we felt we should do, okay? That we exercised safety that we felt we should exercise, all right? Did I wash my hands? Yes, I washed my hands. Okay, but here's the point. All right, today's culture wants to completely destroy the nuclear family. And I've heard this, and it's interesting to me, I've heard the term nuclear family handed around a lot lately. And it cracks me up because I guarantee that 95% of the people who hear the term nuclear family have no idea what it means.
Yeah.
So they've been throwing this thing around. The nuclear family is the standard mom, dad, kids. Okay, and they call it the nuclear family based on the 1950s model of family. You know, dad worked, mom stayed home, that kind of thing. But they want to completely tear apart the nuclear family. I've got news for you. As a blended family, you are still part of the nuclear family model.
Yep.
Okay, just because you're a blended family and you're not a traditional marriage doesn't mean that you have separated yourself from the nuclear family model. Nuclear family at its core is mom, dad, kids. Not mom kids.
Right.
Not dad kids. Sorry.
No, you're
And
fine.
it's mom, dad, consistent kids, which is a lot of where my let your remarriage be your last marriage comes from. Culture right now would have the very fabric of your relationship torn in half and have you separate into the two contingents, because those should be the normal, not what you've got going on. So be thankful that your marriage is still together and that you're continually working on it. You're beating culture.
And work on it, please. The future of this country depends on you. It depends on us and you and your kids. And the only way that anything is going to get changed in this country is for people to do the hard things, have the hard conversations, and stand for what they believe in, right?
Yep.
All right, well, that's all for today, and we thank you so much for being here. We do want to say that, you know, as far as COVID goes, it's really important for you to make sure that you're not led by fear, and make sure that you're not allowing the TV to dictate what you do or don't do.
Make your own choices.
Exactly. You need to do what's right for you and your family, but you cannot just listen. You need to be the type of people that are researching and not just going along with whatever's said in the media, on Facebook, or anywhere else. Okay? So that's our encouragement. We hope that, like I said, all of this helped you, and we will talk to you again soon. Bye.